We are preparing a system to install ComfyUI with Ubuntu Studio. We have made the installation media using Ventoy, installed Conda, as well as ensured the NVIDIA drivers were installed on the base. Next, we want to have our own Conda virtual environment containing the dependencies and Comfy. The environment will not be hard to create once we have Conda installed. We want mini Conda. It will come with a minimal amount of packages rather than over 300 packages. Although they tout it's related to AI, machine learning, all these packages, they are packages you're not going to know how to use. The vast majority of these are not going to relate to your project. You want to install just what you need manually so that you can manage the versions, manage the entire environment on a granular level. We want to find the install script, shell script. For mini Conda, not Anaconda this time because we want the minimal distribution. It's 1 gigabyte versus 150 megabytes. And we want to be able to run this mini Conda script, check if we want to make it executable just in case, so it will run. So open the terminal in that directory with mini Conda file, and we'll do a / and the file to run it. Go through the install, read the license. You can install Miniconda into the default location, the Miniconda 3 directory in your home users directory, by pressing enter at this step. Update your shell profile or terminal automatically, initializing Conda with this step. It's installed. Let's restart the windows for terminal that are open. All the windows for the command line need to be closed. Reopen it. And you can see here it says base on the left now. That means Conda is installed. The base environment will be activated by default. Each time you want to use Comfy or any virtual environment, of which you can have multiple with different versions of Python each. That is the main thing we're trying to accomplish with Conda. I should have mentioned this at the start. We are trying to be able to have a particular version of Python and particular versions of different dependencies in each environment. And Conda is the particular virtual environment tool that allows us to achieve that. you will use the terminal to work Conda, command line. Windows has the GUI interface for Anaconda. If you prefer to use a GUI, this is just as quick once you get used to it. We use the command sudo conda create to create this virtual environment. Sudo conda create -n for name, and put the name of the virtual environment we are working with, and we are going to call it ComfyUI -main. You can put whatever you want. Just remember what it is, because you're going to have to put it in a command every time you want to work with your Python script running in the virtual environment. Conda create -n, the name. Then we need to specify the Python version in this initial command, or it will use the default version. Most likely it will use 3.12. We want to have 3.12 today as the default for ComfyUI. However, we want the ability to do otherwise if desired. For instance, I've had scripts require Python 3.10 or 3.11, depending. But today, put 3.12 for our ComfyUI specific one. Do not run the command with sudo. I made a mistake. Always run without sudo first. This required me to not use sudo. Once you have created the environment, use the command conda activate and the name of your environment to activate. See here on the left, you can have your name of the environment visible. That means it is activated, and if you run any pip install commands, conda install commands, it is installing within that environment, not to the base system. So it's segregated, and you can have different versions of everything. So we have made a AI directory to house all of the projects and the code. We have made a ComfyUI folder. We're going to name this ComfyUI main. So that it matches the name of the virtual environment. And this has the directory with the Git repository for Comfy. You want to git clone the repository, which we've done. We are now in a Conda virtual environment so that we can install the dependencies for Comfy and be in the virtual environment. And we first had to have the Conda or the Comfy directory which contains the requirements.txt that defines the dependencies. There's a command we can retrieve from NVIDIA or from the ComfyGit to install Torch. Find the Git page for ComfyUI once again. Go scroll down to the docs for it on the page. NVIDIA section has the install command for pip, and we wanted that to be within our Conda environment, so we had to run around and make the Conda environment first. So run this, see how it works. Then we will have to do a similar excursion into the pip command to install requirements.txt. This is a common step for nearly all Python code. The requirements.txt is what is defining our dependencies. You can see here it mentions this on the ComfyUI docs, pip install -r requirements.txt. It's very straightforward. You can run it on other hardware apparently, but I only have experience with NVIDIA as what will perform best at this point. There are some large files downloading for CUDA 12.4 specific Torch. You can find the PyTorch website. Page called Start Locally, which has a little tool to form your command as well. If you want a different setup, you can use this tool on the pytorch.org page to have the nightly Linux. If you wanted to use Conda instead, oh, there's a change. There's no longer Conda packages for the nightly. There are Conda packages for the stable 2.51 version. And then you can select, most importantly, your CUDA version. Sometimes you'll want 11.8 or 12.1 or 12.4, depending on the dependencies for the application you're attempting to run within AI. It's still installing, but once this installs, we can run the command to install or attempt running Comfy next. So we're almost there. We want to make sure, once again, verify you're in your environment, Conda environment. Go into the main Comfy directory. The file you want to run today is the main.py file each time to start Comfy. So if you just restarted your computer, all you do is you open terminal, type Conda, activate the name of your environment, activate it, go to the traverse to the ComfyUI directory and type Python -m main with no extension, and we'll see what modules are missing, YAML is missing. So let's try to install it using apt-get just off the bat. Sudo, or is that a Python dependency for pip to install? Let's try YAML package name with apt-get. I'm not promising this is going to work, but Okay. Anytime you hit an error, just copy paste Google Python 3-YAML file is the package name, apparently. It's working. It's already installed, apparently. Let's see what else. Oh, here's a pip install command. Python 3-m pip install pyyaml. This is working, I think. So let's try running again. Module not found, no safe tensors module. Let's try pip install safe tensors. Okay, that worked. Python m main again. psutil this time. See, there are this isn't me screwing up. This is the intended operation for it to fail on these dependencies. You go and install them and it will work once they're installed. They're not defined in the pip requirements.txt file. You need to explicitly install this series of packages. We're missing EINOPS as well. Just keep running the command for Python again. Missing transformers. So we're using pip within the Conda virtual environment we just created. Pip install scipy scipy. And when you see how powerful ComfyUI is, it's no surprise there's all these dependencies, because it's a very powerful application. Okay, a few more. Pip install torch SDE. Pip install AIO HTTP. I think it's running, but we have some issues here. You can see Spandrel. I'm going to write these down because there's multiple, I think. Spandrel. And we're going to want to install these, I believe, with pip, because Spandrel and Cornea we're going to try manually going back, stopping the server, and attempt installing those two into the environment, because there's not even anything installed yet and it's already throwing an error missing those dependencies. Let's see if they show up. Yeah, we found that. Pip install Spandrel worked. Pip install Cornea, and that's working. So now let's run Comfy again and see if we solve those errors. Okay, now this will be a common issue to show you. When you get an error for error while attempting to bind on address already in use, OS error. You want to close your terminals, close things out, and restart the console. You want to reactivate the Conda environment, Conda activate. The name of your environment, and go back to the Conda or the Comfy directory. And if it still doesn't run, you may even have to go and restart your computer or log off, log in, etc. Let's hope it just works with restarting the terminal. Python-m main, and hopefully it will bind to the address. Yes, okay, see, we're doing fine. This is all expected. Going just as expected here. We had to install a few things, but it's now working. We got rid of those errors, and we have successfully installed ComfyUI on Ubuntu Studio today. We have Conda, we have the NVIDIA aspect of CUDA, we have ensured the drivers are installed, using the tool to get the tested driver for Ubuntu Studio. Ubuntu Studio is allowing me to record well with the low latency kernel. So now we can go from here and learn more, use more stable diffusion technologies like ComfyUI now that it is running. Thanks. This has been Alien Machine AI. Stay tuned for more.